often becomes more nuanced, more selective, and in many ways more intense than the surface-level attractions of youth. And when it comes to men over 60, women aren't looking where you think they're looking. Most men assume that aging means becoming invisible to women. They think the game is over. They believe that physical attraction only applies to younger men with gym bodies and full heads of hair. That assumption is not just wrong, it's actually costing them connections they could easily be making. A study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that women's attraction patterns shift significantly as they mature. While younger women often prioritize conventional attractiveness markers, women over 35 increasingly respond to what researchers call character indicators, physical features that signal something deeper about a man's nature. And here's where things get interesting. These character indicators are often found in body parts men completely overlook, parts they don't think matter, parts they've never once considered improving or even paying attention to. Has talked extensively about how desire operates on multiple levels at the same time. The conscious mind might say one thing, but the body responds to entirely different signals. Women are constantly processing physical information about men, running unconscious calculations about health, capability, emotional availability, and yes, even potential as a partner. The body parts I'm about to break down are the exact areas where these calculations happen fastest. And the fourth one on this list is the feature most men have completely stopped caring for, yet it remains one of the most watched by women. The transformation possible here is almost unfair once you understand it. So let's break this down. The first one is the hands. This is the body part women notice early, and they notice it constantly. Hands are under almost non-stop observation. Even when a woman isn't consciously aware she's doing it, she is. Has spoken about hands as a primary canvas of intimacy. She notes that hands tell a woman everything she needs to know about how a man moves through the world, how he treats objects, and by extension, how he might treat her. But here's the specific breakdown of what women are actually scanning for. First, grooming. Not manicured like a hand model, but maintained. Clean nails, trimmed appropriately, no dirt underneath. This sounds basic, but the number of otherwise attractive men who neglect their hands is honestly shocking. Second, the way hands move. Are they calm and steady or nervous and fidgety? Do they gesture with confidence when speaking or hide in pockets? The movement of hands signals inner state, and women read this fluently. Third, and this is the part most men don't realize, women notice signs of capability in hands. A little roughness from real use, evidence that these hands have built things, fixed things, handled real life. There's a reason the phrase, good with his hands, carries romantic undertones. It signals competence that extends far beyond manual labor. A woman I spoke with described meeting a 64-year-old man at a dinner party. She said she noticed his hands before anything else. They were weathered but clean, relaxed when resting, expressive when he talked about his woodworking hobby. She said those hands told her he was someone who created things, took care of things, and paid attention to details. Now, here's the actionable element for men over 60. Hand care is embarrassingly simple, yet almost universally ignored. Basic moisturizer to prevent excessive dryness, regular nail maintenance, and most importantly, awareness of hand movements. Slow, deliberate, purposeful gestures read as confidence. Quick, anxious movements signal insecurity, no matter how strong your words are. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, an anthropologist who studies nonverbal communication, found that hand displays are among the most powerful attraction signals in human interaction. Women are evolutionarily primed to notice hands because they reveal so much about capability, health, and temperament. And speaking of features that signal temperament, the next body part might surprise you. The second one is the forearms. This one consistently shocks men when they hear it. Forearms. Really? Yes, really. And there's real science behind why. When asked to rank attractive body parts on men, women across multiple studies have placed forearms surprisingly high, often above chest, above abs, sometimes even competing with face. And for men over 60, this becomes even more relevant. Here's why forearms carry so much weight. They're one of the few body parts that are regularly visible in normal social situations. Arms might be covered by sleeves, chest is hidden by shirts, but forearms appear whenever a man rolls up his sleeves, reaches for something, or simply exists in warmer weather, discusses the concept of micro-exposures in attraction, the small revelations that happen in everyday moments that trigger interest. A rolled sleeve revealing a forearm is exactly that kind of micro-exposure. It's intimate without being intentional. It's revealing without being flashy. The biological reasoning is simple. Forearms indicate physical capability. The muscles there are working muscles used for gripping, lifting, controlling. They signal that a man can do things, handle things, manage physical reality. A friend of mine, a woman in her mid-50s, told me about a contractor who came to fix her kitchen cabinets. She described him as average in most ways. Normal height, ordinary face, 60-something with gray hair. But when he rolled up his sleeves to work, she said something shifted. His forearms were defined and capable, and suddenly the entire interaction felt different. She laughed when she told me this. I didn't even know I noticed forearms until I couldn't stop noticing his. For men over 60, forearms are actually an area where age can work in your favor. Years of real use create definition that gym exercises alone can't replicate. The key is maintaining enough muscle mass through basic activity while keeping the skin reasonably healthy. Simple things matter here. Hydration affects how forearms look. Basic grip exercises maintain strength. And perhaps most importantly, the willingness to actually show them. Men who always wear long sleeves are hiding one of their strongest assets, but now we need to talk about something far more subtle and far more powerful. The third one is the eyes and what surrounds them. This is where we move from purely physical into something deeper. Eyes are obviously important. Everyone knows that. But what women over 35 are scanning for goes beyond eye color or shape. Has written about what she calls the gaze of presence. She describes it as the way someone's eyes communicate whether they are truly there in the moment or mentally somewhere else. And she notes that this quality becomes more detectable as both the observer and the observed mature. For men over 60, the eyes tell a story. The lines around them, often called crow's feet, are not necessarily negative. A study from Western University in Canada found that people with smile lines were perceived as more genuine, warmer, and more trustworthy than those without them. The evidence of a life spent laughing, squinting into sunlight, expressing emotion, that reads as attractive when combined with present, engaged eye contact. What women are scanning for specifically includes 3 elements. First, the quality of attention. When a man looks at a woman, does it feel focused or distracted? Are his eyes truly taking her in or looking past her? This quality of attention is visible instantly, and it cannot be faked for long. Second, expressiveness. Do the eyes change when he speaks about things that matter? Do they light up, soften, intensify, or do they stay flat and unresponsive? Women read emotional availability through eye behavior more than almost any other feature. Third, health indicators. Clear whites, appropriate moisture, alertness. These signal overall health and vitality, which women pick up on fast, even if they don't consciously think about it. And this is where many men get it wrong. They think women want the youngest looking eyes, but that's not what most mature women respond to. They respond to eyes that look alive. Eyes that look present, eyes that look like they've lived but didn't shut down. And now we reach the fourth body part, the one most men have completely abandoned, the one they assume no one is watching, the one women quietly evaluate more than almost anything else. The fourth one is the jawline and facial hair. And yes, even at 60 plus, this matters a lot. Most men think jawline is a young man's game. They think if they didn't have a strong jaw at 25, it's over. Or they think aging automatically destroys it and there's nothing they can do. But women don't scan jawlines the way men think they do. They don't just scan for sharp angles. They scan for structure, care, and intentionality. A jawline is one of the strongest signals of masculinity in human perception. It frames the face. It gives a man visual strength, even if he is not huge or tall. And facial hair can either amplify that signal or completely weaken it, depending on how it's handled. Here's what women are really reading from this area. First, grooming and self-respect. A beard that is shaped, clean, and intentional reads as confidence and maturity. A beard that looks neglected, patchy, uneven, or overly wild reads as someone who gave up, even if that man is kind, smart, and successful. Second, cleanliness. Many men over 60 let their beard or stubble become an afterthought, but women notice. They notice stray hairs, uneven edges, dry skin under the beard, and mustaches that creep over the lips. It sounds small, but attraction is built on small things stacking up. Third, the balance between rugged and refined. Mature women often respond strongly to a man who looks like he can handle life, but also knows how to present himself. The jawline and facial hair area is where that balance shows up instantly. And here's the unfair advantage. If you are a man over 60, you can upgrade your entire face in a week just by cleaning up this one zone. A proper beard trim, a clean neckline, a consistent shape, even a simple daily shave with a clean edge. Most men are walking around with a face that looks like it hasn't been finished, like it's still under construction. But when a man's facial hair is maintained, it gives him instant authority. It gives him maturity. It gives him strength, and women feel that. Now, the fifth body part ties everything together because it is the part that turns all the other parts into a complete signal. The fifth one is posture, shoulders, and movement. This is the silent amplifier. You can have great hands, strong forearms, warm eyes, and a clean jawline, but if your posture collapses, everything collapses with it. Women notice posture instantly because posture is the physical expression of a man's inner world. It shows how he feels about himself. It shows how much space he believes he deserves. It shows whether he carries shame, confidence, tension, calmness, or self-respect. A man with rounded shoulders and a lowered head doesn't just look older, he looks defeated, even if he is successful, even if he is wealthy, even if he is kind. The body is still sending a signal. But a man over 60 who stands tall with relaxed shoulders and a steady pace triggers something deep in the female nervous system. He looks capable. He looks grounded. He looks like he can protect, lead, and handle pressure. And here's the part that matters. This is not about acting like a tough guy. It's about alignment. Women are scanning for stability. When a man walks into a room with slow, controlled movement, he communicates emotional regulation. He communicates that he is not reactive. He communicates that he is not desperate. He communicates that he has nothing to prove because he already knows who he is. And women respond to that, especially after 35. A man's shoulders are a major part of this. Broadness helps, but it's not required. What matters more is openness. Are the shoulders pulled back enough to show the chest? Is the body open or closed off? Closed posture reads as fear. Open posture reads as calm power. And movement matters just as much as stillness. The way a man sits down, the way he reaches for a cup, the way he turns his head when someone speaks, the way he pauses before responding, has spoken about the erotic power of presence, not performance. Presence. A man who is fully in his body becomes magnetic, even if he is not conventionally hot. This is why that 63-year-old man in the coffee shop got attention. It wasn't a single feature. It was the combination of signals stacking together. His hands were calm and maintained. His forearms showed capability. His eyes looked present. His face looked intentional. His posture looked grounded, and women noticed it in seconds. And the reason this matters so much is because most men over 60 have no idea they still have this kind of power. They assume attraction is something that fades, something that belongs to the young, something they missed out on if they didn't become a gym guy in their 20s. But attraction is not only youth, attraction is not only hair, attraction is not only skin. For mature women, attraction becomes about something deeper. It becomes about signals of character, signals of stability, signals of competence, signals of emotional availability, signals of life experience. And the body is the billboard that displays those signals. The good news is this. None of these body parts require you to be genetically gifted. None of them require plastic surgery. None of them require extreme workouts. They require awareness. They require care. They require intention. Because when a man takes care of the parts of himself most men ignore, he instantly separates himself from the crowd. And women feel that difference. They may not always be able to explain it in words. They may not say, "I noticed his hands," or "I noticed his forearms," or "I noticed his jawline," but their body will respond, their attention will shift, their curiosity will rise, and they will look. Not because you begged for attention, not because you tried too hard, not because you performed, but because you showed up as a man who still respects himself, and that is one of the most attractive things a woman can ever see in a man at any age. Process unconsciously as signs of partner quality, even when they are not actively thinking of someone as a future partner. I spoke with a woman who described meeting her current partner at age 58. He was 62 at the time. She said the first thing she truly noticed were his eyes, not their color. She actually could not remember the color when I asked, but the way they stayed on her when she spoke made her feel seen. She felt interesting, and that feeling was created entirely by how his eyes behaved during conversation. The practical element here involves both health and habit. Eye health matters. Proper sleep, hydration, and if needed, simple fixes like medical attention for any issues. But the habit side matters even more. Practice being present when speaking with someone. Actually be there. Put away the phone. Quiet the mental noise. Focus. This quality of presence can be trained, and it shows first in the eyes. But now I need to tell you about the body part that most men have completely stopped paying attention to. Number 4, the shoulders and overall posture. This is the feature I mentioned earlier, the one men over 60 have largely abandoned caring for, yet it remains under constant female attention. Posture, the set of the shoulders, the way a man carries himself through space. Here is something that might be uncomfortable to hear. Posture is one of the fastest ways women sort men into categories: confident or insecure, strong or declining, worth approaching or best avoided. These judgments happen in under 2 seconds, and they happen almost entirely based on how a man stands and moves. Esther Perel discusses posture as part of what she calls erotic presence. She explains that desire responds to energy, and energy is expressed physically through how the body takes up space. A man can be conventionally attractive, but hold himself in a way that cancels out that attraction. On the other hand, a man with ordinary features can become compelling simply through how he carries himself. The research supports this clearly. A study from the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that expansive postures increased perceived attractiveness far more than clothing, grooming, or even facial symmetry. Participants consistently rated individuals with open, upright posture as more attractive, more confident, and more desirable as partners. For men over 60, posture often suffers from decades of desk work, poor habits, and the general cultural message that it no longer matters. But here's the truth. It matters more than ever because at 60, posture becomes a choice. It signals either surrender to aging or continued vitality. The shoulders specifically are a focal point. Rounded shoulders signal defeat, protection, and withdrawal. Shoulders pulled back signal openness, confidence, and engagement with the world. A woman in her 60s told me about attending a reunion event. She noticed 2 men who had graduated in the same year, both the same age with similar builds. One walked in with rounded shoulders, shuffling steps, head slightly down. The other entered with shoulders back, chin level, measured strides. She said the difference was so sharp it was almost comical. One looked 20 years older than the other, despite being the exact same age. The practical application here is both immediate and long-term. Immediate changes can happen right now. Awareness of shoulder position, conscious adjustment throughout the day. Long-term improvements come from basic strengthening of the muscles that support upright posture, especially the upper back and core. The return on investment here is massive. No other single change can so dramatically affect how women perceive a man over 60. And unlike many physical attributes that are mostly fixed, posture is fully within a man's control. But there is one final body part that brings everything together, and it might be the most surprising of all. Number 5, the mouth and how it moves. This is not just about the smile, although the smile matters enormously. This is about the entire system of lips, teeth, and most importantly, how the mouth moves during speech and expression. Esther Perel has spoken about mouths as central to both communication and attraction. She notes that women are often subconsciously watching a man's mouth during conversation, reading not just words, but the way those words are formed. The mouth becomes a preview of intimacy in ways that most men never consider. Let me break down what women are actually noticing. First, dental health and basic maintenance. This is not about having perfect teeth. In fact, overly perfect teeth can look artificial. It is about baseline care. Clean teeth, fresh breath, and the absence of obvious neglect. A survey by the American Dental Association found that 73% of women rated teeth as the first feature they notice. And for older adults, this percentage actually increased. Second, the quality of the smile. Is it genuine or forced? Does it reach the eyes? Does it appear naturally or seem strained? Authentic smiles are one of the most universally attractive human expressions, and women can detect the difference between real and performed smiles with remarkable accuracy. Third, and this is where things get especially important for men over 60, the movement of the mouth during speech. Does he speak clearly and deliberately? Is there confidence in how words are formed, or is there mumbling, rushing, and verbal insecurity? A speech pathologist I consulted explained that women often process male speech partly through visual channels, watching mouth movements along with hearing the voice. This is why video calls often feel more connecting than phone calls. We are seeing the mouth work while hearing the sound. For older men, the mouth can show age in ways that are actually attractive. Lines around the mouth from years of expression, slight asymmetries that suggest personality. These can read as distinguished rather than diminished. A woman described her attraction to her partner's mouth specifically. She said she noticed how he spoke first, measured, clear, with pauses that showed he was actually thinking about his words. Then she noticed his smile, which appeared slowly and genuinely, never rushed or performed. She said she trusted that mouth before she consciously decided to trust the man attached to it. The practical elements here are simple. Dental care becomes more important, not less. As men age, regular cleanings, attention to breath, and maintenance of whatever teeth are present. But beyond hygiene, there is the behavioral element. Practicing genuine smiles, speaking with deliberate clarity, allowing the mouth to express emotion instead of hiding it. So, there they are. 5 body parts that women scan instantly when they encounter men over 60. Hands that show capability and care through their grooming and movement. Forearms that reveal strength through visible definition. Eyes that communicate presence and emotional availability. Shoulders and posture that signal continued vitality and confidence. And the mouth, which signals both health and the potential for intimacy. None of these require gym memberships, expensive treatments, or extreme interventions. They require attention. They require the recognition that attraction does not end at any particular age. It simply shifts its focus. Esther Perel's work consistently emphasizes that desire is about aliveness, about presence, about the energy someone brings to an interaction. The body parts I have discussed are not just physical features. They are the places where that energy becomes visible. The men who understand this, who maintain these areas while their peers neglect them, create an almost unfair advantage. They become noticeable in spaces where other men of the same age become invisible. And here is the final insight that ties everything together. All 5 of these body parts share something in common. They are about how a man engages with the world around him. Hands that do things, forearms that work, eyes that see, shoulders that face forward, a mouth that communicates. These are not passive features meant to be displayed. They are active signals of how a man lives. Women are reading them because they tell a story that words alone cannot tell. And for men over 60, that story can be one of continued engagement with life or gradual retreat from it. The choice is visible in these 5 places, whether men realize it or not. Now, everything I have shared today covers